Oh, hey! Critical Role's starting a Kickstarter for an animated special? Aw, man, I don't have any money. But you know what? I can spread the word. And I can draw! Ooh. Well, hello once again, everyone. It's your boy Jingles Roscoe with another speed drawing. And today, I decided to draw my 3 favorite characters from Critical Role's Vox Machina. Here we go. So yeah, real excited to finally be drawing some of the members of Vox Machina. I've drawn some fan art for Critical Role before, and it actually ended up in one of the episodes, and I was really excited by that when that happened. And now that they're doing a Kickstarter, since like I said before, I don't really have any disposable income, and but they've mentioned that one of the ways that you can still support them is by letting people know about the Kickstarter. So that's what I decided to do. I decided to draw these characters on stream while letting everybody know, hey, there's this Kickstarter going on right now. And I also, in the stream, put up the playlist for all of the other episodes from Season 1, or Campaign 1, if that's what you want to call it. And that's the one that has Vox Machina in it. And that's the one that has the characters that I was drawing here today. And the first character that I decided to start off with was Scanlan Shorthalt. If you don't know about Scanlan Shorthalt, Scanlan is the bard of the group, played by the illustrious Emmy Award-winning Sam Riegel. And he is a delight. I love Scanlan. He's definitely, like I mentioned, these are my 3 favorite characters. I started with Scanlan because I left it up to the chat in stream. Who should I start off with? And I wanted to draw Grog and Pike together as like one entity. So it was like Grog and Pike or Scanlan, who's going to be first. And so everybody was like, do Scanlan first. And I was like, cool. So I started with Scanlan. As you could see earlier, I had a different pose that I had initially thought of for him, but then I decided to go with this more dramatic, more what I feel Scanlan-like pose. And I was really happy with the way that it turned out. I was actually kind of surprised how quickly I was able to kind of throw this drawing together. I've never drawn Scanlan before, and I've actually really wanted to draw all of the members of Vox Machina over time. And it was really nice to actually have an excuse like this time to be able to draw them like this. And yeah, I was really happy because though I don't have any money to support them monetarily, I wanted to be able to support them in any way that I actually could. And through drawing is the best way that I could think of. And so, yes, Scanlan's great. He's the bard. He's the ladies' man, if you will. As bards, I think, often should be. There's no hard and fast rule that say that bards aren't like that, aren't always like looking for a quick hookup or whatever it is. But most bards are. And listening to Sam talk about when he was initially coming up with Scanlan, it was during their pre-stream days before they started streaming the Critical Role show, and when they were just playing Dungeons & Dragons at home. And he created Scanlan because, as he described it, he wanted to create a character that was just the worst. Like, just an absolute piece of trash. And, you know, I think he did pretty well with doing that. I don't actually know if he has the spell Bigby's hand at this point in the adventure, because this animated special, which it was just going to be 1 episode initially, was going to take place pre-stream. And so I don't know if he actually had access to Bigby's hand at this point. I'll have to double check if I can find anything. I'll just put it on screen here. But he ends up using Bigby's hand a lot during the actual stream. And it's quite obviously one of his favorite spells as well. And so I felt like it was appropriate to include Bigby's hand. I also decided to try out a little bit of like effects around Bigby's hand, so you can see that it's an ethereal thing that's being created by his singing and is not a physical, actual, real thing. But that's kind of what's fun about Bigby's hand and how Scanlan is always summoning it. This was also fun that now that the animated series, which it's going to be a series now because of how much money that they've raised so far, actually has like really interesting and unique character designs for everyone. Because there was official designs for everyone before, initially drawn by Kit Buss, a very talented author, a very talented artist. And they were always really cool, but a lot of fans tend to kind of do their own thing with it. I mean, they kind of use the initial reference images as a base, but from there they would build off of that and create their own kind of idea of what the characters would look like. And actually Takayuki put up a picture of the side-by-side comparison between how he's done Vox Machina over the years and how they look in the animated special. And I thought that was really fun and very interesting. And a very interesting look at that. But here we go. This is Scanlan, and pretty much done. Looks great. I was really happy with it. And now we'll move on to Grog, my second favorite character in the series. I love Grog so much. Grog Strongjaw is a Goliath barbarian played by just the absolutely lovable Travis Willingham. Big fan of Travis Willingham. You might recognize his voice as Roy Mustang from Full Metal Alchemist, and he's currently the voice of Guile in the new Street Fighter games, starting from Street Fighter 2, now in Street Fighter 5. But Grog is great because he's just in a weird way, a big, lovable dum-dum. And he's definitely, watching him has kind of really helped me develop Garath, my bear barbarian. And but you know, I don't model Garath very closely to Grog. Grog is very, at least initially, he's very selfish, very like for himself, and just kind of like doing what the group wants because it's convenient for him. But it's really, really cool to see kind of his growth as a character over time, become somebody that truly, truly loves his family, and his family being the members of Vox Machina that he travels with. And it's really, really cool character growth that I like. Another thing that I'm really fond of when it comes to Grog, and really Travis Willingham himself, is that he's really good at like keeping combat and everything moving along in the series. He's very fun to watch. He's very powerful. He's the tank, as a barbarian should be, but he doesn't have to struggle with like, okay, what's the range of the spell? What level do I have to cast it at? What is the actual effects that the spell causes when I use it? And it's really refreshing because there's only a few like arcane casters, if that doesn't really apply to their druid, but like Scanlan is like the only official arcane caster ever since their old sorcerer had left the group, and so all the arcane casting was set on him. But the druid Keyleth has also a lot of pretty complicated spells, and actually being a druid is pretty complicated in and of itself. So I try to have a lot of grace for Keyleth, because a lot of stuff like that can be confusing. But you know, whenever Travis or Grog has his turn to do something in combat, it's always very straightforward, very quick, and it tends to be pretty flashy too. And so it's something that I really appreciate about him. But Grog as a character, like I said, he's just a big, lovable dum-dum, and I love him so much. Especially, I still haven't finished Campaign 1 yet. I'm still working on it. But from as far as I have been so far, in the campaign. He's just great. I love him. And I really hope that I can create a character around as lovely and as lovable as he is. And so now, before we actually go to the inking and coloring phases for Grog, I'm going to go ahead and start drawing Pike. Pike Trickfoot is the cleric of the group, and she's just the best. She is so precious. She is my absolute favorite character in Campaign 1. And she's so great. She is played by Ashley Johnson, who has had quite a few voice roles. She's currently in the live action TV show Blind Spot, where she has a recurring role on that. And she also plays Ellie. I was trying to remember her name. Ellie from The Last of Us. If you happen to play The Last of Us, she plays Ellie in that. But Pike is she is just a pure little cinnamon bun, just full of life, and just gives life to everyone in the group. And that's both literally and figuratively. And that she's the healer, so she also helps, protect the lives of her friends and comrades. But she's just precious. And in my mind, completely infallible. But she's just an absolute delight. And I love Pike. She, like I said, is the healer, the cleric of the group, and just she's both like a friend, and sometimes she's like, quote unquote, the mother of the group. She's always like keeping an eye on everyone, keeping them alive, and like making sure that nobody does anything completely stupid. And she's she's in a weird way always has like the right thing to say in any given situation. And she's just adorable, little gnomish cleric in like this heavy armor, and she's the best, just easily the best. I love her. And her and Grog have a very like sibling-esque relationship, and it's so cute, and it's the best, because Grog, being a Goliath, is gigantic, and Pike is a gnome, and she's all tiny, and they just work together so well. And every time that I ever see them like do anything together, I'm just full of glee and happiness. And so now we're going on to the inking phase, where since they are kind of considered one entity here in this drawing, I went ahead and decided to do the inking both at the same time, because it just made more sense to me, and I thought it would be easier for me to color that way. Now that I'm looking at this drawing right now, it's actually reminding me, I had just recently read the book Freak the Mighty, and the reason why I picked it up in the first place is because I was working over at this school, and I went into the library there, and I noticed that the book was on the bookshelf, and I was all like, I really, really liked the movie that this was, the movie that based itself on this book. And I had never actually read the book, so I checked it out of our local library and I read it. And it's just funny because Freak the Mighty, it's about these two young boys in the 8th grade, and one of them is like abnormally big. He's just like one of those really fast growers. It's part of his genes. He's just a big, large kid. And then the other one has a medical condition that keeps him being physically very small. And the big kid, he's kind of learning disabled. And the small kid is like a genius. And the small kid rides on the shoulders of the big kid. And together they call themselves Freak the Mighty. And I just thought of that right now because of how Pike is on Grog's shoulders, and she's kind of like the brains of the group here in this particular moment. It's just a little funny thought that came to me right now. As for the other members of Vox Machina, I'm actually... there were times when I was not too particularly fond of some of the other players over time, and even some of these characters I've, from time to time, not been too terribly fond of. But from where I am right now, I love all of these characters, and I'm really excited to see what they decide to do with this animated special / now animated series for them. It's so interesting on how these characters have like grown and changed over the years, that go from like characters that I'm like, I don't really like that person too much, they're a little annoying, or some other weird struggle that I had with them for some reason, and now they're just like, I love all of them. And I'm hoping eventually, actually, at some point, drawing the rest of the group, but that's gonna have to be another video, and that's gonna take a little bit of time. This whole thing itself took me about 7.5 hours total to do, and I did it on stream, and I think probably the biggest reason why it took me so long is because of other things that I was doing while the stream was going on as well. But I am hoping someday soon to, draw the rest of the group, because I love all of them, and I'm really excited to see how the adventure continues as I take my time to catch up on the VODs, and I'm really excited to see what adventures lie in store there. I am also simultaneously watching and trying to catch up on Campaign 2 at the moment, and there are definitely some characters that I absolutely love in those, and others that I'm still kind of getting used to, but I can already see, like, as time goes on, I'm loving everyone more and more and more, and I'm really excited to see what happens with them as well. As we're getting on here to the end of the coloring phase and getting close to the end of this video, I want to know, is there anybody else that watches Critical Role? Anybody else that's interested in the animated special that's going to be coming out for them? And anybody that is decided to donate to the Kickstarter at all? I'm really interested to know. If you guys are interested because of what I've done here today. And here we are, finally at the finished picture. I'll go ahead and show them off real quick. Thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate everybody that, one, watches, and two, like, says anything in the comments section about what they felt about the video. I'm still trying to figure out, like, a really good balance on how to even make these videos, but people keep saying such nice things. It encourages me every time. So thank you once again, and I have all of my social media links in the description, and I try to stream every Friday whenever I can. If I can't, I'll make sure to let people know on my Twitter. But if you're interested, please come by and watch and interact with me and my brother and whoever else might also be on stream. And thank you once again for watching, and I hope you guys have a good one.